After making the first Stolen Dreams, I quickly realized that writing a great script is not enough. Making a great film is not enough. The real challenge comes from building an audience and getting people to actually read or watch what you've created. The first goal was simple: get people in the room, fill screenings, build an audience willing to pay to experience the film live. And over time, we did that. More than 1,000 people have now actually paid to watch the film through independent screenings. But this week, I'm thinking about the next stage. Because eventually you hit a ceiling, a limit on how many people you can reach through physical events alone. One venue, one city, one room at a time. So now the strategy has to move to different heights. Not just creativity, but in reach, scale, and visibility. How do I take this beyond the room? How do I grow the audience without losing the community feeling that made the screenings work in the first place? The goal now is bigger, not just 1,000 people, but to 10x that. Building towards an audience of 12,000 people by the end of 2026. And that means thinking differently, different systems, different execution, and a different level altogether. Because making a film was only one part of the challenge. Now it's about taking it to new heights. But this week at work, everything is moving towards deadlines. Exams approaching, final assignments coming in, and honestly, one of the most frustrating parts is filtering through all of the AI generated work, trying to figure out what's real, what's actually the student's voice, what took effort, and what was generated in seconds. Because the difference matters. You can feel when something has lived experience behind it, when there's thought, struggle, and intentions inside the work. So I've really leaned into learning marketing, not just storytelling, but marketing. Learning how to reach people, how to fill rooms, how to build an audience. And that often comes with credibility. We have that credibility. Hundreds of people have now seen the film. We've got international audience. We've got partnerships with different organizations who are using the film as a tool for social change, working with parents as well as young people. But ultimately, it's time to scale up. Because once you've hit a certain level, you realize how limited it is. And that is physical screenings can only go so far as an independent filmmaker. Time, location, capacity. So now, how do we scale? Especially without distribution, without nationwide release. For me, it's not just about putting it online on demand, but recreating the experience of those live screenings, those shared moments, the Q&A, keeping that community feeling. So here's my 4-step plan. This plan has been successful for us thus far in regards to where we currently are with our promotion. But now we want to take it to that next level. So step 1 is awareness. Getting the trailer in front of the right people. So historically, I've done this through targeted Facebook ads, where we reach the right audience based on their interests, their behaviors, demographics, and location. So we've targeted London, Manchester, Birmingham, and then we've also done the same thing in Berlin. So being very careful in our placement with the trailer, showing it to the right people in their reels, in their stories, in their streams, and so on. Then creating lookalike audience to find new audiences who are similar to those who are currently engaging with the trailer. All of this is backed around that engative creative. So the first creative is obviously that trailer, and I'll speak about the other creatives in the next step. So this helps us maximize the reach, and the main thing is to now build a warm audience that's no longer cold. So they would have seen this trailer over a period of time. So step 2 is to track engagement. The overall goal is to create a pool of people we can retarget. So who are we turning from a cold audience into a warm audience through our awareness phase? So how are we going to do that? We're going to look at the metrics. So the simple metrics that I try to use and I like to use is the video views, for instance, on Facebook ads. So that allows you to track who's watched only the first few seconds of your video or creative, who's watched 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100% completion rates. So this gives you sort of engagement signals in regards to being able to monitor likes, comments, shares, and who's really engaged and interested in what you have put out there. You get audience insights, and this is important. So what you do with this information while you're tracking it is very important for step 3, and I'll talk about that when we get there. So here you can customize your audience in regards to build custom audiences of people who've watched and engaged and interacted with your trailer and content. This is very, very important for that next stage, because what you're doing is you're filtering all of the people who have seen it but are not interested in what they've seen. So you're now being hyper focused on a very specific group of people who you're going to retarget in the next step. So it's just about managing the analysis and the performance of your ad at this point and making sure the right people are seeing it through that journey. So they're viewing it, they're watching it, they're engaging, they identify, and then later on we use that data to optimize for the next phase. Here's one of the most important steps, step 3, retarget. Now we move our attention away from the awareness phase. So you have a budget for the awareness stage, you're going to have a budget for the retargeting stage. So here you move your campaign into something different. So before it's all about awareness and bringing it to a new audience. Now you can now focus that onto a sales campaign. For instance, if you were selling tickets to an event, how do you retarget? So now we use all of the data from when we've been tracking. So for me, I like to use 50% of the people who have watched all of the trailer. All right. People who have shared, liked, or commented on the trailer will also be put into this new audience that's now warm, that will now see a new video creative. So it will no longer be the trailer. Now we have reviews, highlights of different events. So all of this now makes more social proof that people can see, oh wow, this is what people are saying about the film. This is part of the strategy to getting people to do something, to take action. So engagement retargeting is important. Anybody that's been to your website, anybody that's engaged in any part of your creative is important. This also helps find new audiences, lookalike audiences, but we're really focused on the warm audience at this point. So step 4 is now converting all of the people who have now turned from cold audience to a warm audience to essentially very, very warm at this point in regards to they've engaged with all of your content, the trailer, the new ads that they've been seeing. So now how do they convert? So you use the sales campaign at this point and you push them towards whatever it is that you want them to do. So whether it's to attend the screening, be involved in a specific action. So you have to now pick relevant messages. So what copy, what caption is going to keep their attention, then you get them to take that action. through these targeted ads that they will continue to see. That includes reminders, and eventually the idea is that they spend the money and support because of the interest that they have in all of your messaging, essentially. So it costs money in order to get people to see your film. And so this is the 4 steps that I've used right from September when Redemption came out. It's allowed us to now have 10 screenings where we've had over 1,000 people who have now seen this. So we're trying to replicate this model and 10x the outcome. So we want to now take this model to now get us to at least over 10,000 people. And our goal is to try and get at least 12,000 people online to watch this film. So the goal isn't just views. And honestly, the goal isn't to sit around waiting to be chosen either. It's about going directly to the audience and building something step by step. One screening at a time, one person at a time. Because the reality is, as of today, this film Redemption has been rejected by 5 different film festivals. And if I had relied on that route alone, before my own personal screenings, before the audiences that I built, I probably would have started questioning whether the film was even good enough. But that's the difference when you build your own audience. You get real feedback in real time, real reactions, real conversations. And 95% of the people watching the film don't know me personally. They have no reason to protect my ego. If something connects, it connects honestly. So for now, the focus is scaling that. Taking what's already working and seeing how far it can go. Because if it works at a bigger level, then every screening gets us one step closer to legacy.